Hello, Toon Army. What an absolutely brilliant day to be talking about our beloved Newcastle United, the best team in the world. I've got some proper exciting content to share with you today, and I'm buzzing to get into it. But first, let me get you thinking with a couple of questions that I reckon will have us all debating in the comments below. What do you think about the possibility of Joao Pedro joining our beloved Magpies for potentially under 60 million? Could this Brazilian striker be exactly what we need to take our attack to the next level in the Champions League? And how frustrated does it make you feel, knowing that we might have to let Odysseus Vlachodimos go at a loss because of these blooming PSR rules that seem designed to hold clubs like ours back? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because I'm dying to hear what you all think. Right then, Toon Army, let's dive straight into what could be the most exciting transfer news we've heard in months. Joao Pedro to Newcastle United is suddenly looking likely, according to the latest reports. And honestly, I can barely contain my excitement about this one. This is the kind of signing that gets your heart racing, isn't it? Now, we all remember the disappointment when Pedro almost joined us back in 2022, don't we? That near miss left many of us wondering what could have been, but it looks like fate might finally be working in our favour. The lad's been absolutely phenomenal at Brighton, and at just 23 years old, he's got that perfect blend of youth and experience that Eddie Howe loves to work with. The numbers speak for themselves, don't they? 30 goals last season. That's the kind of output that makes you sit up and take notice. When you think about our current attacking options, Pedro would bring something completely different to the table. His pace, his movement in the box, and that clinical finishing ability. It's exactly what we need to complement the likes of Alexander Isak and Callum Wilson. What's particularly encouraging about this whole situation is the way our club has approached it. We've shown real ambition by putting in that initial $50 million bid, even though Brighton knocked it back. That shows we're serious about this lad. And more importantly, it shows we're not messing about when it comes to strengthening the squad for our Champions League campaign. The fact that Brighton are willing to sell after that training ground incident with Jan-Paul van Hecker actually works in our favour, doesn't it? Sometimes these situations create opportunities, and it sounds like Pedro's head has been turned. When a player wants to leave and the selling club is open to negotiations, that's when deals get done. The reports suggesting it could come in under 60 million suddenly make this feel very realistic. Think about what Pedro would bring to St. James Park. He's versatile enough to play across the front line. He's got that South American flair that gets fans off their seats. And he's hungry to prove himself at the highest level. The Champions League is calling. And what better stage for a player like Pedro to announce himself to European football? The competition from Chelsea is a bit concerning, I'll admit. But here's the thing. We can offer him something Chelsea can't. At Newcastle, Pedro wouldn't just be another expensive signing fighting for minutes. He'd be coming to a club where he'd be genuinely valued, where Eddie Howe would build the attack around his strengths, and where the fans would absolutely worship him if he delivers. Eddie Howe's track record with forwards speaks for itself. Look what he's done with Isak, transforming him from a promising talent into one of the Premier League's most feared strikers. Imagine what he could do with Pedro's raw talent and that burning desire to succeed at the highest level. The timing feels perfect too, doesn't it? We're entering the Champions League with genuine ambitions. We've got the infrastructure in place to support top-level players. And we've got a manager who knows how to get the best out of attacking talent. Pedro joining us now would be a statement of intent that we're not just happy to be back among Europe's elite. We want to compete with the very best. What excites me most is thinking about Pedro linking up with Bruno Guimaraes. creating those magical moments that only South American players seem capable of. The understanding, the quick passing combinations, the way they read each other's movements. It could be absolutely electric to watch. Now then, let's talk about something that's been grinding my gears lately, and I'm sure it's doing the same for many of you out there. The Odysseus Vlachodimos situation perfectly encapsulates everything that's wrong with these blooming PSR rules that seem designed to punish ambitious clubs like ours. When we signed Vlachodimos from Nottingham Forest for that reported $20 million last summer, many of us thought it was a shrewd bit of business. A proven goalkeeper with European experience, someone who could challenge Nick Pope and provide quality competition between the sticks. What we didn't expect was for the lad to play just 45 minutes of competitive football all season. 45 minutes. That's barely enough time to get properly warmed up. Never mind justify a $20 million price tag. The reality is brutal, isn't it? Vlachodimos has somehow fallen to fourth choice goalkeeper, behind even John Ruddy, who we brought in on a free transfer. When you think about it like that, it's absolutely mind-boggling how quickly things can change in football. 1 minute, you're a $20 million signing with high expectations. The next, you're watching from the sidelines, wondering where it all went wrong. But here's what really gets me wound up about this whole situation. It's not just about Vlachodimos himself. It's about what his departure represents for our club's financial position. Selling him at a loss, which seems inevitable, given his lack of game time, will negatively impact our balance sheet and our PSR standing. It's like being trapped in a vicious cycle, where you can't win, no matter what you do. Think about the madness of it all. We bought Vlachodimos, partly as a sweetener in the deal that saw Elliot Anderson go to Forest. That transfer was pure profit for us, because Elliot was an academy graduate, which helped us navigate those PSR concerns last summer. Now we're potentially looking at having to sell Vlachodimos at a significant loss, which completely undermines the financial benefit we got from Anderson's departure. The frustration Eddie Howe expressed about last summer's transfer business really resonates with me, and I'm sure it does with all of you as well, when he said he felt really uncomfortable about being forced to sell Anderson and Yankuba Minte against our will, really for financial reasons. You could hear the genuine pain in his voice. These weren't just squad players we were moving on. These were talented young lads who represented the future of our club. Eddie's absolutely right when he says, the current PSR system doesn't feel right. How can it be fair that a club like ours, with ambitious owners willing to invest in the team and the infrastructure, gets held back by rules that seem to favour the established elite? It's particularly galling when you see other clubs seemingly finding creative ways around these same regulations. The potential solution involving Saudi Arabian clubs is interesting, but it highlights another frustrating aspect of modern football. Vlachodimos apparently prefers a European move, which is completely understandable from a sporting perspective. The lad wants to play at the highest level, not just chase big money in a league that doesn't offer the same competitive challenges. But we might need that Saudi money to make the numbers work for our PSR calculations. The loan option that's being discussed, potentially following the interest from Anderlecht that emerged shortly after his arrival, might be our best bet for now. At least that way, we could get his wages off the books temporarily, while hoping his value might recover if he gets regular playing time elsewhere. It's not ideal, but it might be the most pragmatic solution in our current circumstances. What really bothers me is how this whole situation affects our ability to strengthen the squad properly. Every pound we lose on Vlachodimos is a pound that could have been invested in bringing in players who would actually improve our first team. When you're trying to compete in the Champions League and challenge the top 6 in the Premier League, These financial inefficiencies can be the difference between success and falling short of your ambitions. The irony isn't lost on me that while we're potentially losing money on a goalkeeper who barely played, other clubs seem to be conducting their business without these same constraints. It makes you wonder if we're being too honest in our approach to PSR compliance, while others are finding more creative interpretations of the rules. Looking ahead, this Vlachodimos situation should serve as a learning experience for our recruitment team. We can't afford to make signings that don't work out, especially not when they're worth $20 million. Every transfer needs to be absolutely spot on, because we simply don't have the financial flexibility to absorb these kinds of losses without consequences. The bigger picture here is about building a sustainable model that allows us to compete at the highest level while staying within these frustrating PSR constraints. We need to be smarter, more efficient, and perhaps more ruthless in our decision-making. It's not just about having ambitious owners anymore. It's about maximizing every opportunity and minimizing every risk. Well, that's all from St. James Park for today, lads and lasses. These PSR rules might be testing our patience, but they'll never break our spirit. We're Newcastle United, the best team in the world, and we'll find a way to navigate these challenges and come out stronger on the other side. Keep supporting the Magpies through thick and thin, and I'll be back with more updates soon. Away the lads!